Hello students, welcome back to Study Point. This is Purnima Tyagi here, and today I am going to explain you chapter 1 of Rainbow Water, that is written by C.V. Raman. The essay Water is a genuine appeal for the conservation of water for the welfare of India, in particular as our agriculture is based on this natural resource. This essay presents the water as the basis of life. Writer want to express here that water is a real elixir of life. He has tried to show the effect of water by showing the difference between two areas. On one side was greenery and on the other side was billowing sand. Not a speck of greenery was there. He has tried to show some scientific facts related to water, like formation of silt, soil erosion, etc. So student, let us see how water plays an important role in humans' life. Man has through the ages sought in vain for an imaginary elixir of life, the divine Amrit, a dot of which was thought to confer immortality. Man is searching for a long time an imaginary elixir of life, that is the divine Amrit, and a drop of which is considered just like to give the immortality, but the elixir of life lies near to our hands, for it is the commonest of all liquids, plain water. But writer is saying here the true elixir of life is in our hand, in the way of water. It is very common in all the liquid, yes, that is plain water. I remember one day standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of the Nile in Egypt. On the one side was visible a sea of billowing sand, without a speck of green or single living thing anywhere visible on it. On the other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth, teeming with life and vegetation. Writer is saying here that he remembers one day he was standing on a line which makes separate the Libyan desert and the valley of the Nile in Egypt. He has noticed that one side of that was a sea of billowing sand, means completely sand was there on one side, without a speck of green or single living thing. There was not a spot of greenery, there was not a single living being was visible on that area. And on the other side, on the second side, it was full of greenery and it was most fertile and completely densely populated areas was there that can be found anywhere on the earth, which is full, teeming with means filled with, which is filled with life and vegetation. What made this wonderful difference? What is the cause of this wonderful difference? Students, from here the question also can be asked in your exam. Just listen these lines clearly. The difference can be asked to you. What is the difference between the Libyan desert and the valley of the Nile in Egypt? The question can be asked in the exam. What made this wonderful difference? Now we will continue from here. What made this wonderful difference? Why it is the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its sources a couple of thousands of miles away. After all, what is the reason behind that wonderful difference? Why? The water of river Nile is flowing towards Mediterranean from its origin place. Geologists tell us that the entire soil of the Nile Valley is a creation of river itself, brought down as the finest silt in its flood waters from the highland of Abyssinia and from remote Central Africa and led down through the ages in the trough means channels, through which the Nile flows into the sea. Some geologists tell us that complete soil of Nile Valley is the creation of river itself, which is come down as a finest silt from the highland of Abyssinia and some remote center Africa. And after that, it led down here in a small channels, where from the Nile flows into the sea. Egypt in fact was made by its river. Egypt in fact it is made by its river. It is not made by other thing. It is a creation of the river that Egypt is. Its ancient civilization was created and is sustained by the life-giving waters which come down year after year with unfailing regularity. In ancient civilization, the ancient civilization of Egypt is created by the water of river Nile and is sustained by this life-giving water which is coming down year after year regularly, continuously. I give this example and could give many others to emphasize that this common substance which we take for granted in our everyday life is most potent and the most wonderful thing on the face of our earth. Now, writer is giving here the example that how this common substance is very useful for us in our daily life, and it is very important that without being thinking we are wasting it. Writer just want to say here with the example, by giving the example that the common substance which we take for granted, which we think that of no importance in our everyday life, is really very important, is full of possibilities and the most wonderful thing on the face of this earth. Because on this earth not a single activity can be done without water. It has played a role of vast significance in shaping the course of the earth's history and continues to play the leading role in the drama of life on the surface of our planet. So, water is playing a very crucial role, a very important role, a very significant role in shaping the course of the earth history, and it is still playing a very leading role in the life, because our life is sustaining because of water. And on this earth, on this surface of our planet, on this earth, we are sustaining because of water. If water will not be here, we can imagine about life? No, not at all. Next paragraph we will see here. There is nothing which adds so much to the beauty of the countryside as water be it just a little stream trickling over the rocks or a little pond by the wayside where the cattle quench their thirst of an evening. Student, here the writer has explained that how water increases the beauty of our land. The question can be asked from here also. So students, we will start. There is nothing which adds so much beauty of the countryside as water. Means nothing is here in this world that can increase the beauty of the land, just like water increase. Here, for example, be it just a little stream trickling over the rocks, means whether it is just like a little stream that is dropping on the stone, or little pond by the wayside, or we can see the little ponds are there on the wayside where the cattle quench their thirst at the time of evening. So the pond looks very beautiful. That pond looks very beautiful. Why those are ponds? Why those ponds looks very beautiful? Because of water only. And here is also in the first line, as the writer is saying that be it just a little stream trickling over the rocks. So when the drop of water is coming down then by then and falling on the stone, it looks very beautiful. So here also the role of the water that increasing the beauty of the environments. So writer is saying here that there is nothing that can add the so much beauty of the countryside as water. Just like the trickling over the rocks, the little stream trickling over the rocks, or we can see the pond which are made on wayside where the cattle quench their thirst at the time of evening. Next line. The rain-fed tanks that are so common in South India, alas, often so sadly neglected in their maintenance, are a cheering sight when they are full. So students, the question can be asked from here also, what is the role of the rain-fed tanks? So rain-fed tanks, these are very common in South India, but the miserable thing is that they are very neglected, means there is not a proper system of the maintenance of those tanks. Otherwise they looks very beautiful when they are full, means if proper maintenance will be done of those tanks, so they can be very useful and can increase the beauty of the land. They looks a very cheering sight. They are of course shallow, but this is less evident since the water is silt laden and throws the light back, and the bottom does not therefore show up. They, of course, shallow. Shallow means not very deep. The ponds, then fed tanks which are there in the South India, these are not so deep. But the silt is laden over there. Silt is a finest kind of soil. So silt is laden over there. Silt is there at the bottom of those tanks. So because of that, it throws the light back, and it looks just like the water is full in these tanks. The tanks are full of water. It reflects just like because of the silt which is laden on the bottom of those tanks, which gives light back, and the bottom does not therefore show up, and the bottom of the tanks is not show up because of those silt which is laden on the bottom of the tanks, and it looks very beautiful. These tanks plays a vital role in South Indian agriculture. The question can be asked from here also. These are the things which play a very crucial role, very important role in the agriculture of South India. In Mysore, for example, much of the rice is grown in them. Some of these things are surprisingly very large, and it is a beautiful sight to see the sunrise or set over one of them. Some of these tanks are really very large, and because of their largeness, a beautiful scene, just like if we see if we see the sunrise over them, if we see sunset over them on those ponds, it looks very beautiful. On those tanks, it looks very it is really a very beautiful scene. Just you have noticed over there somewhere else that ponds are filled, and you just see the scene at the time of when the sun is rising and when the sun is set. It looks very beautiful. So just like when these tanks are when these tanks are full, and at the time of sunrise or sunset, we can see a very beautiful sight over there. Water in a landscape may be compared to the eyes in a human face. Water that is in the landscape, water in the scenery. The role of water in a scenery is shown here. That is very important because it increases the beauty of the scenery. It is compared with the eyes in a human face. As on human face, eyes increase the beauty of the face, just like water increase the beauty of the land in a scenery. It reflects the mood of the earth, being bright and gay when the sun shines. So when sun shines, the scene looks very beautiful, it looks very bright, it looks very pleasant. And when the turning to dark and gloomy when the sky is overcast, and when there is cloud in the sky, it looks dark and gloomy. So water plays a very crucial role in the scenery of the land. Because of that, it is compared with the eyes of human. One of the most remarkable facts about water is its power to carry silt or finally divided soil in suspension. Here, writer is saying that it is very remarkable thing. It is a very remarkable fact that water is having the power to carry the silt. Silt, I have told you already, that is the finest quality of soil. So, water, one of the most remarkable fact about water is its power to carry the silt or it is finally divided soil in suspension. This is the origin of the characteristic color of the water in rain-fed tanks, and definitely it is the origin, it is the we can say this is the beginning of the characteristics of the color in rain-fed tanks. As the silt is carried through the water somewhere else, whatever the color of the soil will be, the same color of silt will be there. So, it is the origin of the characteristic color of the water in rain-fed tanks. The water which is through the rain, the fast flow of rain is running from the particular soil, the color of the particular soil which will be, that kind of silt will be find out. So, this is the origin of the characteristic of the color. This color varies with the nature of the earth in the catchment areas and is most vivid immediately after a fresh inflow following rain. And this is the color we can notice with the nature of the earth in the catchment area, with the nature of the earth in the catchment area. Here means that in the catchment area, what kind of earth, what kind of color of the soil will be, the color of the silt will be the same. And we can notice it very easily when the fresh inflow of rainwater comes, when it is raining, when the fast flow of rain comes. It can be looks easily, we can identify this very easily. Swiftly flowing water can carry fairly large and heavy particles, and the swiftly flowing water, swiftly means fastly the water which is flowing over there, it can carry a fairly large and heavy particles of soil. The finest particle, however, remain floating within the liquid in spite of their greater density and are carried to great distance. And the finest particles which are, however, they remain floating within the liquid in spite of their great quantity, and they are carried to a great distance. So, students, the part of today's this topic water is completing here. The next part I will explain in my next lecture.